They are so sophisticated and so far advanced, working with the likes of Palantir, NVIDIA, all these cutting edge tech companies. Couple what the CIA was trying to do in the 50s with MKUltra and its subcomponents compared to what it is technologically able to do today, and it is terrifying. I actually posed this question to a current CIA officer. I said, how do you guys cross borders? How do you get through airports? Like in different names. And he said, we don't know yet. Still struggling. Yeah, the technology is developing so quickly, they just can't keep up with it. I will tell you that the DS&T, the Directorate of Science and Technology, which is one of the 4 directorates at the CIA, when I was there was almost an afterthought, because mostly what it was responsible for was disguises and, briefcases with secret pockets in them and, supporting operations. Now they are so sophisticated and so far advanced, working with the likes of Palantir and Elon Musk's different companies and AWS and all these like cutting edge, NVIDIA, all these cutting edge tech companies. They are so far advanced that instead of doing the silly concealment devices and disguises, they just pawn that off to individuals or makeup companies and they do the big ticket items now. I would say what the DS&T is doing with things like virtual reality are closer now to what DARPA is doing on futuristic tech than what they ever did in the past at the CIA.
So what would you say, as an example, like what would a big ticket item be in that case?
Man, I couldn't even venture to say it. I don't even know. It's become so sophisticated. I sat next to a guy for years. Awesome guy, terrific analyst. And he always had a thing for tech. We used to joke about it because we were all young. We were all in our 20s. We're all tech savvy. Now, he's the CIA's chief technical officer, SIS-4. He could be the director if the president wanted him to be. And I remember saying to a buddy of mine when our friend was promoted, I was like, man, he really made it like to the very top. And my friend said, it was the tech. I'll tell you what he did. Just as a favor on his day off, he made a computer program to allow our Middle East analysts to make family trees of the royal families in the countries that they cover, right? No such software existed. There was no such thing as, Family Tree Maker or genealogy.com. There was no such thing as .com. We're talking about pre-internet days. And he took 3 days off on his own time and made this program, the software that everybody in the office used. And I was like, wow, he really knows a lot about tech, huh? And then 2 or 3 years later, they invented the internet, or they didn't invent it then, but they released the internet to the general public, and he just jumped right in and really, really made something out of himself. So he's in charge of all this stuff now. Yeah.
Did you ever have any experience with DARPA?
Never. I was never cleared to even know what it was they were doing over there. They're so far advanced.
Right, and that's what they say. They say DARPA's 20 years ahead of what we can see. Mm-hmm. And so I would think that is the agency?
Yeah. One of the things I learned early on at the agency, though, is that it is far cheaper and far easier to just buy something that's already been invented than it is to develop it from scratch. That was before 9/11. Post 9/11, money's not an issue at all. And so DARPA's doing it, NSA's doing it, CIA's doing it, and then they're within QTEL, they're financing it in the public sector. In the private sector. So the sky's the limit, man. It really is. And I can't even imagine the Russians spending that kind of money on tech. Maybe the Chinese do. I don't know. They've got the money. But since 9/11, we've gone whole hog in tech development.
Chinese could always just steal it from us, I guess.
They steal it from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like the Israelis do.
We'll talk about that.
Don't get me
started.
started.
We'll talk about the Mossad. Don't worry. In-Q-Tel is it's openly the CIA's venture capital firm, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I want to say they invested in Palantir or...
They gave Palantir their first, it was like $1.5 million to get off the ground. Very first investment. And now look at Palantir. Just this year, for the first time, they have more than $1 billion in revenue. So it's a success story.
So Palantir does commercial stuff now too. It's not just DoD
right.
and government contracts.
No, it's a standalone, profitable tech company.
Right. So they're selling to civilians, so to speak. But I remember hearing when Palantir first came out that people at the agency didn't like it
At all.
and maybe they gave them a trial run or something, and they were like, "Fuck this, we don't want to use this."
Yeah.
Do they use it now? You think?
Yeah.
What is it? What would they use it for?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Mostly, wow. You know what? I probably shouldn't say.
Would it be along the lines of targeting?
Yes. You know, this metadata has to come from somewhere, right? So, like with Abu Zubaydah, and remember, Abu Zubaydah was 23 years ago, where we're just laying out papers on the ground and trying to connect the dots. It's way more sophisticated now. You can't get away now. You just can't get away. So rather than have analysts poring over this stuff and you just hoping that your analysts are really, really smart, AI does it all. They do all of it. And it makes it much easier. That's why in the Obama administration, John Brennan had the Tuesday morning kill list meetings. Because the tech got sophisticated enough that you could just write up a list of people that you want to kill that week. And you dish out the assignments. The teams go out, they kill everybody that's on the list, and then they meet next Tuesday and get that kill list. And you just do it week after week. You know, when the Vault 7 documents were released back in, 2017?
What are those?
There was a CIA computer engineer named Joshua Schulte, who swears that he's innocent, but is now serving a sentence of 40 years for espionage. He was allegedly a disgruntled engineer. He didn't like his boss. He didn't like his coworkers. They didn't like him. So he just downloaded the crown jewels of the Directorate of Science and Technology and sent it all to WikiLeaks in 2017. Google Vault 7 documents, Vault 7 revelations. It will knock your socks off. Thousands and thousands of pages. It makes what Chelsea Manning leaked look like, scrawl from a sixth grader. So he revealed that the CIA has developed technologies to, for example, remotely take over your car by hacking into the chip, right? Why would the CIA want to take over your car? To make you drive off a bridge, maybe? To make you drive into a tree and kill yourself? To make you drive into an abutment and make sure that there's no way you can survive because they've got the thing going 140 miles an hour and you can't control it? They developed technology to reverse your smart TV to make the speaker into a microphone with the TV still appearing to be off. So you don't know that it's broadcasting everything that's being said in your house to CIA headquarters. They were able to hack into other countries' most sensitive technological systems and to leave little scraps of code, but the scraps of code are written in Russian or in Persian, in Farsi. So people say, oh, the fucking Russians hacked into us. or the Chinese or the Iranians. And actually, no, it was us. But you'll never know it. I mean, there's almost too much in Vault 7 to even go into. It's incredible. I'm going to give a talk about it at a hacker conference this coming weekend. So, couple what the CIA was trying to do in the 50s with MK Ultra and its subcomponents compared to what it is technologically able to do today, and it is terrifying. Terrifying. You just can't. We may think we really, truly know somebody. We don't. We never know what's going on. We never know what's going on in people's private lives. And so you always have to be wary, and you have to be self-protective. The CIA, I've said this 1,000 times in podcasts, but I'm going to say it again. The CIA actively seeks to hire people who have sociopathic tendencies. People, not sociopaths. Sociopaths have no conscience. People with sociopathic tendencies do have a conscience. They do react in a polygraph exam. But because we believe we're the good guys, we're happy to work in legal, moral, and ethical gray areas. But sociopaths easily slip through the process because you can't trip them up on a polygraph. They have no conscience, so they don't react. That's the problem. Sociopaths slip through. Now, you know as well as anybody that sociopaths are common among C-suite officials in companies. That's how they got to be CEO, CFO, COO, on the backs of the people around them. They're not the nicest people in the world, but they're not criminals either, because they can self-regulate. Some people can't self-regulate, especially when you convince yourself that you have the power and authority of the CIA behind you. You think you can get away with anything, and you can't. So there's a lot more criminality at the CIA than you might imagine. A lot more criminality. It's not just some idiot spending $200 on his CIA credit card to buy a prostitute. It's people carrying out real crimes.
So Tucker Carlson, who I know you're friendly with, says that and I think his dad or someone was in the intelligence, said that he's come to believe that the intelligence community is actively undermining society.
I've come to the same conclusion, because now the CIA is weaponized against people that, don't fit the mold. Whether you're John, who says, hey, wait a minute, there's a law against torture and we probably shouldn't be doing this. No, prison for you. Or whether you're Donald Trump, like, oh, we don't like this guy. We can't control him. Now let's steal the election. What's happened?
Do you think that the CIA at any point was trying to take out Trump?
Not physically. No, I don't.
Well, why not physically? Haven't we done it before?
Well, I've had a lot of conversations on this topic.
But let me ask you this, because, again, you are a super sophisticated guy. Like, if I heard someone say that they released all the documents, whether it's about Epstein, whether it's about Kennedy, whether it's about whatever, I don't really believe that they released all.
Just like I didn't believe it with Clinton, with Bush 2, with Obama. Congress passed this law saying you have to release all the documents. Even Biden. But Trump was just so public about his desire to release the information. Like Hillary Clinton was with the UFO information. On my first day, I'm going to sign an executive order. We're going to know about the UFOs. I was like, okay, finally. Plus, my God, 60 years had passed. And no, after 60 years, it's just too much.
For people who don't know the story, like give me whatever you want to call it, the 2-minute, 3-minute version, and then let's dive into pieces of it. But so the kid from Pennsylvania comes to DC, George Washington, fulfilling kind of a kid's dream of being a spy. It sounds like he gets recruited to become a spy.
Yes, in graduate school.
And becomes a spy.
Yeah, I got lucky. And so I remained in the Directorate of Intelligence, which is the analytic directorate, until August of 1993. Then was given a legit State Department job, because to make the senior intelligence service, you have to do a rotation in the policy community, which is either the White House, the State Department, or the Defense Department. And you have to do a rotation in another directorate, which is Operations, Science and Technology, or Administration. So I did my rotation to State. I went to Arabic training for a year, mastered it, because I always wanted to learn Arabic. In fact, when I finished Arabic, and I went to Bahrain, and the ambassador spoke Arabic. I was so fortunate to work for this absolutely wonderful ambassador. This was David Ransom in Bahrain. Just loved the guy. And he said to me, hey, I've got a meeting with the Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs. He doesn't speak a word of English. My Arabic's a little rusty, he says. Can you come with me, be my translator? I said, oh, I'd love to. So we went together, and it was not a normal thing for an American ambassador to meet a Minister of Religious Affairs, but he just wanted to pay a courtesy call. How are you, Your Excellency? So nice to meet you. Your country's lovely. You know, we have good relations, that kind of thing. And so we went, and I did the translation. And as we were leaving, the minister stops me, and he said, your Arabic is excellent, young man. And I said, thank you, Excellency. And we got in the car, and the ambassador said, it really is excellent. Yeah, and one time I was in Yemen, and I flew back to DC, and I thought, should I go to sleep? I'm just gonna go home, go to sleep. And I thought, nah, I'll go into headquarters, and I'll just do my accounting. So I go in, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of snuck in. So I'm in my cubicle, I'm just doing my accounting so I can get reimbursed, and my boss sees me, and he says, hey, I didn't know you were back. I said, I'm actually not back. I just flew in, I just want to do my accounting, and I'm gonna go home and go to sleep. And he says, okay, well, can you go to Sudan? And I said, what? I was just 1 hour from Sudan. I said, when? He goes, 3 o'clock? I said, oh, come on, man, why? He said, well, there's a walk-in, and nobody speaks Arabic there right now, and you gotta go to Sudan. I said, all right. I said, let me go home and do a load of laundry. So I did. And then I drove back to the airport and then flew back to Sudan again. But you know, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was exciting.
And so you're rising. Are you on your way to becoming the director of the CIA?
Yeah, I wish.
I mean, were you on that trajectory? Like, would someone reviewing the rising young superstars have tabbed you as one of the rising young superstars?
No, that is a very, very political position. And there have only been 3, I guess, directors over the years who were career CIA officers. Everybody else has been an outsider. The former FBI director, lots of generals, which I think has always, like, historically been a big mistake.